Hello and welcome. Today's video is going to be about unbricking an HDMI recorder. The box I have here is called a Velocap, but it goes by lots of different names. HDMI cloner. About a week ago, some guy had bricked his unit and asked me if it was possible for me to back up my firmware somehow. I managed to do it in a couple of days and decided to make a step-by-step so other people can try it as well. I'm using the Arduino to program the unit. You can use other things. The software that I'm using called FlashROM comes with lots of different options, but I decided to go with this one because I have lots of them anyways. You just need 7 pins to do it, and I'll show you how to connect that. And I believe that's about it, so I'll make this short and jump into it now. Alright, I actually created another folder before this video was done, and I'll just name it Try First. So if your unit's bricked because you tried somebody else's firmware and it bricked it, just try copying one of these two files to the USB stick, or just copy them both if you want. Give it about 20 minutes and see if it comes back to life. Alternatively, if you find other people's firmware on the internet, just in case this box isn't yours, just try renaming it to either of these two files and put it on a USB stick and try again until you can unbrick it. Otherwise, you'll have to follow the video. Alright guys, thanks.
Alright, so here's a brand new Nano. I'm going to show you guys step by step how to install it. So just open the guy up. Alright, so the first step now is just to plug in the USB. You're going to want to make sure this board actually works and get the software going in Windows or Linux or whichever one you want first before you add all the jumpers. Just gets that part out of the way just in case you run into problems even with the first step. Alright, so I'm going to show you guys that in the software part and then jump back in showing you the headers.
Right, the first thing I suggest to do is plug in your Arduino and just to load the drivers up. So you can find out first to see if the drivers did get detected. So you can just go to Control Panel, Device Manager. I'm in a virtual machine, so things are going to be a little bit screwed up in here. That's fine. So under ports it's not detected. So what you can do here is go into my package, go into step 1 and choose setup and install it. Alright, once that's done, go find out your COM port, go back to Device Manager. Might have to refresh this. Alright, so I'm on COM 3. That's good. So just remember the 3 because for all my little scripts or whatever, all you're going to be doing is typing 3. So once you have the driver installed, go to step 2, and this is where you're going to want to write the software for your Atmel chip. You just click on this guy here. Here type 3 or whatever port you're on. Once you do that, push enter and then push enter again once it's plugged in, but it should already be plugged in. Alright, it's good. So now before we start wiring it up, the last thing you should try is go to step 3, and it's not connected to your board or nothing, but we're just going to do a read just to see if part of it gets detected. So just double click on the read.bat. Again, pick your port, that's 3 for me. Enter. The only thing we're after here is this. If it says this part here, that means it's good. That means the software is loaded on the chip correctly. Now, the problems you might run into is you won't be able to detect the chip after and stuff like that. So the point of me doing it this way is at least now you can rule out the software. Currently the software on it's 115200. Alright, so after that's done, now I'm going to show you guys how to wire it. So it's going to be a little bit jumping back and forth now to the wiring part of it.
Alright, back from that. So you have options here. You can either solder on all these rails on both sides, or just to have it a little bit less confusing, just put the pins in for the places you need them. So it would be here for D10, D11, D12, D13, your 3 volt, you might try that one first, your 5 volt, and your ground. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to split these off and just solder them where I need them. So the first one, you just need 3 of them. Alright, so I'm done all soldering. I just kind of jumped forward. So I'll show a close-up of it, what it looks like here. And now we'll attach it to the HDMI box directly to the W25Q32 chip. Okay, so open up your box. Mine's all modded up with the fan from my last video. So what I suggest doing is taking this board out. You can get to the chip right here without taking this board out, but it's easy to take the board out anyways. So you may as well just do that. Alright, so the board's open now. Here's the W25 chip we're after right here. And we'll go with the pin numbering from the Nano. So pin 1 would be here for the W25 for reference. And it would go like this. It would go 10, 12, 11, 13. This is your hold, and this is your volts. You can try 3 volts first, but most likely you're going to have to use 5 volts. What I originally done was I was getting frustrated with this board, so I started popping the legs off, and that's how I broke one of the traces here. The only way I could program it in Linux was I had to lift this leg up and short it to the hold button, but without it being connected to this board at all, because for some reason I was getting a short. But anyways, we'll try it first like this, just with it still soldered on the board. And I believe you'll probably have to put 5 volts on it to get it to go. Don't use the power from this board. So connect the wires any way you can. I just got these kind of cables here, just to make it a little bit easier. Alright, so I'm going to start with pin 1. And pin 1 is your 10. So you can skip ahead here if you don't want to watch me soldering these. So I'm just going to turn the board here so it's easier to get to it. You'll probably want to pre-tin these too. Ideally, if you're going to continue always programming these or hacking these, I would just make a breakout over here somewhere with pins, so you can just plug it right in instead of doing it this way, because I did burn a trace off, but I was lifting up the pin. And if you're going to be moving it around a lot, maybe get creative with some hot glue or something. Pin 12 is the next one. So we're going to skip pin 11. That. Just watch out for bridges, because this one's pretty close to that one. Okay, pin 11. So carefully turn this board around. And now we're going to be on this side. And we'll want pin 11. And then we'll do the pin 13, which is your clock. That goes there. The next 2 pins left here on this side is your hold and your 5 volts. What I just did here was I just tied 2 together here for those 2. You can just put a blob here and short the 2 out. Just make sure you know how to remove bridges, because they can be a pain in the ass. So that'd be your hold. Hopefully it doesn't rip off when I do this. And then here's your bolts. Alright, so that's the mess you're left with. Again, this one here, you'll probably want to just plug it into 5 volts and get it over with right away. But you can try 3 volts first, just for kicks, just to see if it works. And 3 volts is right beside pin 13. So I'll try that first and I'll show you in the software what happens. And then I'll connect it to pin 5 and show you how it works. And I forgot to bring up ground. Oops. So, yeah. Ground is the pin here at the end. And just find ground anywhere on the board. I just found it here on, I believe would be an IR port right in the middle. And after the ground, I'm just going to show you guys where to hook up the WP pin as well. So with the W25 chip, just count 3 from that dot side. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4. And it'd be the 3rd pin there. So I'm just going to attach another one, and this one's going to also get connected right to 5 volts. So I'll just twist it on. Put the rest of them over here. Solder that part after. And try to see if I can carefully get this pin in there, which is kind of crowded now. Right, I'm not saying for sure you're going to need the WP pin, but it doesn't hurt to add it anyways. You can try without it, but if you get write errors or your box is still brick, just add it.
Alright, so go to step 3, and if you get an error where you can't see the unit at all, the Arduino, so I'll put 3. So you might get an error like this, can't open serial port or anything like this. It probably means that there's just too much voltage being drawn from the Arduino, so you're going to have to plug it into the 3 volt line. If it works on a 3, so be it. But anyways, if it doesn't, just put it on 5 and then try it again. So once it's plugged in, click the right dot bat, pick your COM. So again, this is going to take a really long time. And what I mean by a long time, it can take 4 minutes or it can take 20 minutes. Anything between there is normal. So the first thing it's going to do is read it, which takes forever. The writing only takes about a minute, and then the verifying takes another 5 to 10 minutes. So after it's verifying, you can unplug it, I guess, if you really wanted to. But that's up to you guys. So I'll just let this, actually I won't let this play out. I'll fast forward it or just jump right to the end. Error or something, some kind of error, you might be able to just try my read, or I believe I called it a read.bat file. It'll make up a backup of your firmware and then just do a hex compare with it just to see what went wrong. If it's all zeros, obviously it's something to do with the writing, so maybe the WP pin has to be removed off the board. Just lift up the pin, but I doubt it. Most likely you just have to add 5 volts to it. Alright, thanks for watching. I hope this helps somebody out. If you run into any problems, like I said, just hit me up on YouTube and I'll try my best to help you out. Okay guys, thanks for watching.